So that's the difference between the unmastered and mastered version. I'm sure you can hear it. I'm sure you will agree that it's kind of he's pulling out some frequencies that are nice and like removing some that aren't that nice.
Hard to articulate, don't enunciate, but I know you're waiting for it. I just can't let it go. Reason unknown, ready to implode. Oh.
Hey guys, welcome to the studio, welcome to the vlog. Today's a very special episode. Today it's all about mastering, because today is the day where my new single, Secrets, is finally getting the mastering treatment. So today I would love to share with you how this process is actually taking place, what mastering is, if it's worth it, how much you will actually pay for it, if you should do it as a beginner, when to master a song, when not to master it, when send it out to a mastering engineer, and when to just master it yourself. So let's first start with how to get your song ready for mastering. Preparing a song for mastering is pretty simple. You just open up your DAW, the final mix of your song, and it should be the final mix. And nothing should be in there that you still want to change, because there's no way back. Once it's mastered, you paid for it, there's nothing you can change about it. You have to master it actually again. Next up, you just get rid of the plugins on your own master chain. I usually first master the song myself to send it out to other people to get feedback, and also to be able to send it out to labels. It's enough if you master it yourself. The label will pay for the mastering if they like the song. Just get it up to loudness. Don't do anything fancy, multiband compression, compressing it too hard. Like a little bit of compression, just like 1 to 3 dBs of gain reduction to capture the peaks, limiting and just making it loud. And that's basically all you have to do. So I get rid of my master chain. I remove like the EQ, and I remove the limiter as well as span, the analyzer. I think you could also leave it on, it doesn't do anything, but just in case I get rid of it. But the compressor, the SSL compressor that I'm using, that does a little bit of compression, I actually leave it on because it's part of my sound. It's part of how I actually choose to set all other things, because it was on during my process of mixing the song. So I leave it there. If I take it off, the mastering engineer would have to recreate it to get closer to what I've intended. So I just leave it on there. This is really up to preference, but it's important to get rid of the limiter, and in most cases also of the EQ. And then the big thing, of course, is how much headroom should you leave. If you try to search for it online, people will say 4 dB of headroom, some will say 12, some will say 6, like everyone says something different. And it really doesn't matter. The most important is just that it's not clipping. So just leave headroom. It doesn't matter how much, just make sure it doesn't clip. So if you want to be really sure, go to the loudest part of your song and let it play and check if it doesn't clip without the limiter, or just bounce it out and then import it again into your DAW, and then you can try and find, there's like a function in Logic to find the loudest part of it. Then you just check it. If it doesn't clip, you're fine. I wouldn't leave more than like 12 dB of headroom, because then it's just really quiet. The mastering engineer has then to emphasize it again a lot, and you might actually lose some quality. But in general, just make sure it doesn't clip. That's all that is needed. And really briefly, a lot of people ask about your own mastering versus the mastering of someone professional. I personally always let someone else master it. First of all, you need to find someone you actually trust and that understands your sound, and still then I always go with them to their studio. This will also follow later in this video, to just be present and be there to double check everything, that the song is exactly what I intended it to be. If you have bad mastering engineers, and a lot of them are really bad, they just want your money, they slap some L2 on top and just make it loud and send it back to you again, that's really not worth it. This is not what mastering should be like. And in that case, it's actually better if you master it yourself. So try to find someone that might squeeze out 1 or 2 more % out of a song that you just can't get. That's exactly the case why I let someone else master it. And also for someone else to double check it on different speakers, check it with a different perspective, their knowledge of mastering thousands and thousands of other songs. I think it's definitely worth it. I mean, mastering is usually between like maybe 40 if you find someone really cheap, to 50, 60, which is like normal, and it can go up to 120 per song if you find someone that is just extra expensive for no reason, or someone that is mastering for a lot of very well-known people. They actually charge a lot more. But yeah, I will now bounce out the master in, of course, 24-bit wave, best quality for the mastering engineer. And also always keep in mind to leave like 4 or 5 seconds before the song, after the song, because the cutting of the song and picking the final length is also part of mastering actually. So yeah, let's bounce it. This might take actually a couple of minutes because this project is now at almost 60 tracks. Half of it is almost just vocals. All done in the studio. Track is bounced. I got it here in this USB stick. To be more precise, actually 2 versions, club version and the standard radio Spotify kind of version. And now it's time to actually head over to the mastering engineer.
My secrets, I lock up and keep them. My secrets, too dangerous to give away. In my mind they'll stay.
I told you, one of the coolest studios in this town, one of the best mastering engineers maybe in Germany. He's doing all of the stuff for Robin Schulz and then some other German guys that are really famous, but you probably don't know. So now the moment of truth, listening to the before and after. And I can already tell you the difference is maybe 5%, maybe 6%. Mostly, of course, in the loudness, because mastering is all about getting your song ready for release. And ready for release meant back in the days, ready for the medium you would actually release it on. So you needed to separately master it for CD, for vinyl, whole different kind of mastering for each of them. Nowadays, since it's all like Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, and this kind of stuff, it's usually just one master. We just did one for the club version, one for the radio Spotify version, whatever you want to call it. So mastering is less about making it ready for that medium. It's more about making it loud enough without distorting it, and maybe getting a little more out of the sound. So for example, in my song, the upper bass was a little bit too loud and was mudding up, so you lowered it by 1-2 dB. The kick is a lot tighter due to the compression, and also there is like a kind of big boost on the upper mids, because the vocals could be a little louder, and the main synthesizer, like the click and attack, everything is a little more pronounced, but it won't make or break your song. If you're a beginner, you're starting to produce your first half year, your first year, and you think you're the greatest, and like I thought back in the days when I started that I made the most amazing song ever. It was pure shit, of course, and I just thought, okay, just to mastering and it will be done. It will sound the same as everyone else's song. But that's actually not the case. I think the sound of a record is mostly about the selection of the right sounds and then the mixing. But the selection is like 80%, the mixing is 15%, and then the rest is just the mastering. It's like the frame for a picture. The picture is still the same, the frame just makes sure you can hang it onto the wall. But yeah, now let's compare the two. I will try to match them in loudness. My version is the totally unmastered, pre-mastered version that of course naturally sounds a little more dull. And I didn't compare it to like his mastering versus my mastering. It would be a lot closer. So it's the raw, unmastered, a little increased in volume, and the mastered version a little decreased in volume to match the volumes. So listen for yourself. You'll probably need headphones, but I think you will even hear it on smaller speakers.
My secrets, too dangerous to give away. In my mind they'll stay. In my mind they'll stay.
So that's the difference between the unmastered and mastered version. I'm sure you can hear it. I'm sure you will agree that it's kind of, he's pulling out some frequencies that are nice and like removing some that aren't that nice, gives it an overall balance, the compression and the limiting, which makes it ready for release. And those last percentages are usually the ones that I can't achieve myself. And again, it's also nice to have someone else with experience listening all over your record again and correcting some things you might have missed in the mixing process due to not having the experience or maybe not the right room. It's like another step, another control stage to make sure your song is as good as it can be. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all this kind of stuff. We will see us tomorrow back again for another vlog. Tomorrow, since now I got the master, it's all about getting that song ready for release. The plan, how to release it, how to promote it. Tomorrow's episode will be really, really important because I'm trying out something new. A new system to release songs that is probably the smartest way to do it at the moment. Thanks for watching. Sign out.